Alright, we're here, back again for another episode of the Back Bone Zone. Thanks for joining me. My name's Tyson, if you don't know. But we're back again. It is wet as an otter's pocket outside. It is raining pretty hard here in Canberra. Everyone's got the tarps on at the trails, that's for sure. Aside from that, it's been another kind of busy week for BMX worldwide. A few cool things going on. Quite funny actually. Last week I spoke about the X Games and how I thought it was potentially one of the best X Games I'd ever seen, but just lacking atmosphere. And then, all of a sudden, lo and behold, the Vans Waffle Cup happens in Huntington Beach. And from what I can gather, or at least the way it made me feel, was that it was an amazing atmosphere. So that was really cool. Go and check it out on YouTube. There's this little thumbnail that I've just posted up just here. But our BMX filmed a whole bunch of it. It looked like a really cool course. It was a little bit old school vibe course. It was kind of back and forth, but it had a lot of real street quotes elements to it, so it was cool to watch. And big cash thrown down, so very cool to see. The other thing with BMX news that going on is we just posted up the video on our site, so this one just here. So James Fox, I shot that photo of Baxter, but James Fox made a sick video from Will Kerr's Valley View Jam that he has, or the June Jam as it's affectionately known. And 2021, bit of a tumultuous year just in general with lockdowns and things like that, but he had the jam. And it was just a big build jam. He has got one of the most incredible scenes ever. Go have a little bit of a read of what I said, and for sure watch the video if you don't get excited to, build your own stuff after reading that and watching that video. Then I don't know what will. He's a one-man band out there, Will Kerr, as well as his brother, Chris, who moved from Young a couple of years back. But yeah, it's really, really impressive. And not only is there the trails that no doubt you've seen all over the place, including in the Fast and Loose video and whatnot, but yeah, the bowl there as well now. So big kudos, big ups to Will Kerr. The other thing that I wanted to mention just in the whole BMX sphere, which is actually a little bit outside of I guess the typical BMX news, but I'm talking about it just because he's our mate. Remy Morton just released his latest Raw 100, so yeah, go check that out. Here I am. Go check that out on YouTube. So yeah, the Raw 100, he went to Utah and just destroyed that area that they have Red Bull Rampage. Now Remy obviously rides mountain bikes, I guess for that's probably what he's most well known for, but he loves riding BMX, and he's just got that, I feel like he's got like that BMX mindset where he's not waiting for people to give it to him, like he's just going out and doing it. So if it means that he's got to build something to make it happen, then that's what he's doing. So really sick video. You can definitely see his BMX style coming through in it. Look at that timestamp that I paused it on. Remy's wearing a Backbone tee, so he's always been repping us for many years. So thanks, Remy. Sick video, mate. But yeah, I guess what I thought would be interesting to talk about, and as it's starting to sort of ramp up into proper act jam organising. So we run this event, for those that don't know, called the Act Jam. It's actually been running since 2013, and it only had that 1 year off due to when COVID first broke out. But yeah, we've been running this jam, and essentially because I actually came to Canberra for the Act Jam, because the Act Jam initially ran from year 2000 to 2005. I came to the 2005 one, changed my life. At the end of the day, I moved to Canberra, and it was something that I've always wanted to, I guess, pass the buck. I just loved it so much, and it wasn't even really the biggest one, but I was like, man, we got to bring the Act Jam back. So 2013, we brought it back. It's grown year on year. The 2021 Act Jam was absolutely massive, and that was, in between, again, like the pandemic was happening, and a lot of riders couldn't get here. Certainly we didn't have international riders that time around, but it was huge, and it's turned into one of the events that is the biggest event in BMX in the world, I think now. Dig Magazine had it in their must go to events in the best, I think they had like a best of issue, and Act Jam made it into there, and we've had companies fly riders out from all over the world, which is super special to me, and I never would have thought that would happen. But so Act Jam's not just me, it was just that Riss and I, who own the store, and at the time I didn't own the store, I just managed it. I just said to Riss that I wanted to put it on, and I guess Riss and I essentially run it, and then we get a lot of help from our friends who happen to be incredible carpenters, or they just have their finger on the pulse with certain things. But my whole point to this is we are about to really dive into organising the Act Jam for this year, which is on the October 6, 7 and 8. October 6, 7 and 8. So there will be a lot of people here, but I have started to get a little bit of help from various people already, and it's exciting to me because the people that are helping me aren't exactly hardcore, again, quotation marks, hardcore BMX. They're actually, parents of riders, so they're just as invested in seeing BMX be awesome, because they want their kids to enjoy BMX. So, but they know what they're doing in terms of maybe official stuff, or organizational skills are a little bit higher than mine, or at least it would seem. And the cool thing that I took away from the first meeting that I had with them was that, and this I think is a really good message, they kind of were like, they basically explained to me that, hardcore BMX is great, but at some stage you need to be able to push BMX to people that don't know BMX yet, and explain to them why it's so good. And at the end of the day, that's what will then create new BMXs, as well as new growth in the sport and things like that. So I guess to explain it another way would be that before anyone rides BMX, they didn't ride BMX. And when people first start riding BMX, they are not hardcore BMX riders. They're just someone who picks up a bike for, maybe it's transport, maybe it's because they saw the X Games or the Vans Waffle Cup, maybe it's because their mate can jump 8 people and that seems really exciting off this launch ramp that he made. So there's a lot of things that go on in BMX that kind of transition you into a hardcore BMX rider, which is why I think it's important to remember that we don't all start off as hardcore. But the example that they were saying with this whole hardcore BMX thing, and why we need to almost make it, I guess, a word that doesn't quite describe it very well, is commercial, is that it will bring more eyes, and at the end of the day, more eyes means more funding, and at the end, and when you talk about more funding, that means more skate parks, more ability for riders to do what they love. And one of the cool messages that they, that I took home with me was that they said that, they'd be willing to bet that every international cyclist that has made cycling of some sort their profession, whether it be mountain biking or road cycling or track cycling, they all probably started by getting their first bike, which was a BMX bike. And that really hit home to me because, they as parents, the people that I was speaking to as parents, they understand how much their son or daughter loves riding BMX, but that may not be the thing that they continue on for forever. And that's okay. But imagine if the riding BMX was the thing that then led them to being really good at mountain biking. For example, in Remy Morton's case, I guess that's where I'm tying this all together, Remy Morton is an absolutely incredible mountain biker. And for probably the first time I've actually been, I wouldn't say inspired, but I just have my eyes closed to mountain biking for a lot of years, and then Remy is the type of person that makes mountain biking look really good, so it's something that now I'm interested in watching. And that's the same with our another old team rider of ours, Mikey Ross. He started off in BMX, incredible rider. We actually met him down at Queanbeyan Skate Park, and he was just a young kid. He continued to ride. He ended up riding for the shop. He rode for We the People. Absolutely incredible rider. And now he's transferred over into mountain biking, and he's killing it. He just did the world's first cash roll off of a drop in, like a flat drop. So I'm sure you can find that on his Instagram. And it's impressive to me that when these parents said that, BMX starts everything off, I think that we don't get enough credit for that. And of course, ultimately, you would love to have more BMXers stick with BMX. I mean, I would love it to see Mikey jump back on his BMX bike. But the overarching message, I think, is that BMX is one of the most important sports in terms of a cycling sport that anyone could get into, because you very rarely see a mountain biker have skills that have solely ridden mountain bikes. But if you see a kid that's been riding BMX for a number of years and then they get a mountain bike, then their skills are just far and away, higher than most. So, BMX, like I said, we have to be really proud of that. And I think at the end of the day, if there's more riders, more people that are getting into BMX, then obviously that will mean that there's going to be a higher number of riders, a higher number of hardcore riders. But it's also going to mean opportunities for people to have really gotten good at riding bikes on probably the hardest to ride discipline. BMX would have to be one of the hardest out of all the disciplines of cycling. And, that transfers across. So I'd love to spread that message. I think that's an important message to send out there, is that, we cycling owes a lot of its success to people who ride BMX, and it's on top of the skills that you require in BMX that are far and away some of the highest out of all cycling. It's also what is the most affordable for a young kid to get into. So pretty cool. I've never had my eyes opened like that. I guess because when you have been so deep into BMX for so long, you don't think about some of the things that people who aren't as deep but still can appreciate the importance of it. You don't see those points. So I really appreciated hearing that, and I think it's a bit of a mindset shift because BMX, well, me as a BMXer, I can feel not necessarily hard done by, but it can be tough sometimes. You think that we seem to be this like less successful brother of the skateboarding world. Like skateboarders seem to be doing quite well in that world takeover, but I'm taking that same idea from the blokes that I was speaking with just the other day. I'd be willing to bet that most kids would be getting BMX bikes way more than they would be getting skateboards. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to think about when you think of it in that way. So I'm just down to spread the message, just to let people know that it's okay for new riders to come into the sport, for new people to come into the sport, because you never know what could happen in terms of making the sport better. Well, when I say sport, I do mean, you never know what you could see by making our culture better if we were to have new people come in and experience what we all know and love as BMX. So yeah, very interesting. Anyway, I'm going to keep it a bit shorter today. I just wanted to say good work to Remy, good work to Will Kerr, and good on your Vans as well for putting on what looked to be a pretty kick-ass event. So excited for the future of BMX for sure, and definitely, like I said in the last episode, mark down October 6, 7, 8 in your calendar. Get to Canberra. Act Jam is going to be a hell of a time. But I'll see you guys next episode. Thanks.